Go.
Hi everyone, I'm Youssef and today I'm here with Mariam, Nagham, Marvin, Hania, and Alia, and today we're talking about theories of press. This is the outline for today. We're focusing today about two important theories, which are authoritarian theory and social responsibility theory. Yeah, and let me focus more about the authoritarian theory and tell you about it. Authoritarian theory is basically that media is controlled by the authorities, which means that anything that goes from media to public the authority controls it. It can't be like the authority has the option to ban anything and make anything public. Many countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, and even China use this theory. Let me focus more about UAE. This is one of the best examples in the Middle East. UAE made in 2010 became like the first Gulf state to establish diplomatic relations with Israel, which is something that was shocking, especially in the Middle East, that we know all what the problem Israel and how they control Palestine, and that most Middle Eastern countries can't even do any relations with Israel. But till 2019, the media in UAE was on the side of Palestine and hated Israel and talked about. But suddenly, after what happened with the diplomatic relations with Israel, the media changed their words and became something normal. And this is the real example of that authorities controls the media, and that media never says the 100% truth, just what's on the side of the authority. And this is the best example I can see. And now we have Mariam, and she will explain more about the authorities theory.
And the second example about Jamal Khashoggi is a Saudi journalist who covered major stories in Saudi news organization. He fell out of favor from Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the son of King Salman. Therefore, Mohammed bin Salman decided to kill him, and he did when Jamal visited the Saudi embassy in Istanbul to obtain a Saudi document stating he was divorced so that he could marry his Turkish fiancée. Also, Saudi Arabia rejects the U.S. intelligence claim about Khashoggi's death, as he denied the findings of U.S. reports of Mohammed Salman, who ordered the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Mohammed bin Salman has full authority, which prevent people investigate behind him, as shown when he was murdered in another country. They still couldn't protect him because Mohammed bin Salman have the power of taking any decision regarding his citizens. This is a perfect example of authoritarianism because Saudi Arabia follows the authoritarian theory as they have the power to make anything and take the grip of what journalists can say.
Okay, example three is about Ahmad Abdul Samad and Safa Ghali. On January 10, 2020, the digital TV reporter Ahmad Abdul Samad and the camera operator Safa Ghali were attacked by unknown gunmen. They were covering a protest in the southern Iraqi city of Barsa. Before Samad's death, by a few hours, he posted a video on his Facebook account about Iraqi security forces' arrests of protests in Barsa. According to a report by Qatari broadcaster Al Jazeera, the journalist's friends and colleagues believe the attack was tied to Samad and Ghali's work, saying that they were targeted because they had reported critically on military forces that had attacked the protesters. Also, according to a statement by the regional human rights group, the Gulf Center of Human Rights, Samad has received death threats from the military prior to his assassination. So this is an example of authoritarian theory of press.
Okay, and now I will talk about social responsibility theory. Actually, social responsibility theory allowed allows the free press without any censorship, but at the same time, the control of the press should be discussed in public panels, and media should accept any obligation from public interference or professional self-regulations or both. The theory lies between both the libertarian theory and the Austrian theory because it gives the total media freedom on other hand and external controls on the other hand. Actually, the theory helped in creating professionalism in media by setting up high level of accuracy, truth, and information. The first example about the Philippines. Actually, the Philippine government has followed two theories in media. The first one is libertarian theory, and the second one is social responsibility theory. Actually, I will be focused on the social responsibility theory that the Philippines press is given the freedom to publish anything, but has to be responsible in its action. The main role of the press to help perceive and the growth of democracy, guideline and regulations make the press behave in a responsible manner. And now Hania will explain the example too. Thank you.
So our second example of social responsibility theory is the United States, and specifically how health reporting in the United States works. So first, let's watch this video together.
Being anti-mask and anti-vaccine, this anti-government, that I'm proud to be anti-government.
As more and more Americans are getting vaccinated, resistance remains strong within one group in particular, white evangelicals.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
This hesitancy is driven by a distrust in government, misinformation, and political identity. This is not a fringe group. A quarter of Americans are evangelical.
You do not give me my rights, sir, whether you're a politician, a governor, or a doctor.
I would rather die free than I had live on my knees.
How is it living on your knees to take a vaccine?
Because you're bowing against your convictions.
Pentecostal pastor Tony Spell has made a national name for himself protesting COVID-19 rules in Baton Rouge. He live streamed himself going under house arrest last spring for refusing to close his church during lockdown. While a survey of evangelical leaders finds most would be open to getting the vaccine, Spell is adamantly against it. If you broke your arm or something, would you go to the doctor?
Sure, I go to the doctor and get it set and wear a cast.
So, like, at some level, you trust some doctor.
Yes, we do.
So, can you just explain where the line is?
The line is in this vaccine. Number one, the virus has been a scam from the beginning. It's always been politically motivated for mail-in ballots and voter ID. That's what has got a new administration in the White House today.
White evangelical Christians are more likely than other religious groups to believe in certain conspiracy theories, like that Trump won the 2020 election or in QAnon theories, according to a study by the conservative American Enterprise Institute. But conspiracies about the COVID-19 vaccine can affect everyone else, because public health experts have told us around 70% of the population needs to get the vaccine to reach herd immunity. And 28% of white evangelical Christians say they definitely won't get it, with another 6% saying they'll only get it if forced.
If you have a 99.6 survival rate, why do you want somebody to contaminate your bloodstream with something that may or may not hurt you?
There is a tendency within white Christian nationalism to want to believe these kinds of conspiracies because I think it reinforces this idea of an us versus them. The problem is the people who are feeding that fear have an incentive to keep stoking that fear because people keep clicking and people keep listening.
So health news reporting in any nation requires a lot of social responsibility from the nation's press. The reporter here is attempting to raise awareness on the importance of vaccination by showing the claims of anti-vaccine groups in the US and analyzing whether their claims are based on facts. The reporter listens to the claims of the evangelicals, which is an anti-vaccine Christian group in the US, and discovers that a lot of their claims are based on conspiracy and distrust of the evangelicals towards the government. The reporter even brings in a sociology of religion expert to explain the belief system behind the group, and he uncovers that most individuals are driven by political ideologies, distrust, and myth, and hence do not want to take the vaccine. Rather than enforcing an opinion, the reporter, as well as the news network, sheds light on a controversial stance on vaccination and shows the myth behind it, which could possibly delude innocent and media illiterate people to become anti-vaccine and hence bring harm upon themselves.
Next example is Germany. The spread of false info may cause problems. So to avoid public confusion, Germany uses the social responsibility theory to keep peace in society. So what makes Germany think that social responsibility is a good theory to apply? Well, it's a mix between authoritarian and libertarian theories. So what could go wrong? To summarize, we've seen several countries express various press theories, particularly authoritarian and social responsibility theories, both of which have advantages and disadvantages, depending on how the country executes the theory. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it.